They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding? I came for you.
Warning, this review is going to be full of spoilers. You've been warned. If you have watched this movie, go watch it, come back later. Hello there. Last time we talked about The Forbidden, the story that was the basis for Candyman. This video will talk about the movie Candyman, the one most of us know, and this is how we met this character, Candyman. The movie was filmed in 1992. It was directed by Bernard Rose, and it stars Victoria Madsen and Tony Todd. Last video we talked about the short story, how it takes place in Liverpool and features a mostly white cast, but here we have the plot transferred to Chicago in the infamous Cabrini Green housing projects, which is apartment blocks. So we have a much more urban and American centric setting for the story. Our protagonist is Helen Lyle, who decides to write her thesis to have a publication about this local urban legend of Candyman. She and her companion Bernadette discover that there was a murder in Cabrini Grade that is attributed to this Candyman myth. So they decide to investigate the legend to disprove it. And once they make it, they disprove the Candyman myth. Candyman appears and is tormenting them, called her Helen. Of course, there are a lot of changes to the Candyman in this movie. First of all, Candyman in the movie has an origin story. He was a former slave, 1800s, that seduced a white girl. That's why he was lynched. He had his arm chopped off, not chopped off, sawed off, and he was covered in honey and bees put on him to sting him to death. And also, there is a sort of Bloody Mary theme to it, where you have to call him 5 times for as a challenge for him to appear.
Candyman, 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 Candyman. Candyman.
Early on, Helen calls Candyman 5 times in front of a mirror as a challenge, because that way you challenge the myth of Candyman. That's why he appears. And I rewatched the movie recently. Actually, I've watched it on cinema special screening, and I have to say it was very disturbing. There was an hypnotic quality to it that is so unique to this movie. Of course, I'll have to mention the amazing score by Philip Glass.
Be my victim.
It elevates the movie to something much more than a slasher film. It makes the film even more surreal, dreamlike. It feels like at some point after the midpoint where Candyman makes his appearance, his proper appearance, it feels like reality is melting like candy. And of course, there is a very strong psychological horror element in this film, and it goes hand in hand with some slasher goodness. It kind of reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street, even though it takes a lot of time to properly set this setting of the movie. It sets this movie into grounded reality. And something I've also noticed, was not aware of that when I have first seen this movie years ago, it had way too many cheap and old jump scares. You know what I mean? You have a jump scare, it doesn't quite pay off because it's something else. It's a dog barking in a window. It's somebody playing a prank. And this happens after Ellen says Candyman 5 times. And well, usually these cheap jump scares, they are a pet peeve of mine. But here, they sort of work. And that's quite an achievement because they contribute to the theme of unease, especially in the Cabrini Green project when the two women go there and you have Bernadette, who is African American, and she's scared because she's aware where she's going, and Helen is the rich, the privileged white woman who goes gung ho.
You're the one who got us dressed up like cops.
I just said dress conservatively.
No, we look like cops.
Why are you trying to scare me?
I'm not trying to scare you, Helen. I just want you to think, okay? The gangs hold this whole neighborhood hostage.
Those jump scares work amazingly well because both women are tense because of the place they're in, where there are gangs, there is violence, and there may be a supernatural entity haunting them. And actually, the movie takes its time. It builds upon the social messages of ghettos, of urban legends, of mistrust to the neighbors, like they did for the original story. And it actually manages to take the spirit of the original and fit it in another environment quite well. And there are some great embellishments, like the mirror in the bathroom. When you remove the mirror and there's a hole, you get the next bathroom. That was actually based in reality. There were mirrors like that in Chicago, in similar buildings, and it's quite interesting. There is a lot of build up till you get to the Candyman proper appearing. And I think the performances are great. Victoria Madsen is much more than a scream queen. She actually sells the part of Helen, the gung-ho, headstrong academic who is trying to disprove urban myth. And then when Tony Todd as Candyman appears, she compliments him very well. And
Be my victim. Be my victim.
Tony Todd really steals the show. He's imposing, he's a very tall guy, has this very smooth, hypnotic, yet menacing presence, and he sells this romantic villain quite well.
Me. And be immortal.
Of course, there is this infamous scene with the bees in his mouth, where he actually put the bees in his mouth, and there is this rumor that he got a $1,000 bonus for each bee stinging him, and he was stung 23 times. So, good job, Tony. Yes, I'll praise this movie a lot because it's a great 90s slasher, and beyond that, it's beyond a good slasher, it's a great slasher. It is scary in a lot of ways and very deep, but there is something that really confused me about it. And that's why I won't be as enthusiastic about this as other movies. And I have to say it because, like, oh, I felt confused about that. In the previous video about the short story The Forbidden that gave us the Candyman, the basis for the Candyman mythos, I stated that the story was too cerebral. In this movie, they get away from this cerebral side by tucking in a subplot that Helen is a reincarnation of Candyman's beloved. And the same year, Coppola's Dracula did the exact same thing with the original material. It gave us the idea that Mina was Count Dracula's eternal beloved. It was a reincarnation. And put them together, and those two films came very close together. Dracula came 2 months earlier than Candyman, I believe, and while this worked in Dracula, this story element here, it's just confusing, it's jarring. It makes very little sense. It adds way too many elements to the character of Candyman and comes very late.
It was always you, Helen. It was always you.
I get this seductive game of cat and mouse between Candyman and Ellen.
What do the good know? accept what the bad teach them by their excesses. Allow me at least to kiss.
And actually, the ending is quite interesting, the way the movie ends and how it builds on the myth. And it's an element that is removed from later in the franchise. I think there is a rumor that this final element will be included in the remake slash reboot. Actually, I'm not sure about that yet in the 2020 Candyman movie that may or may not come out this summer. And this element, this love story, is not quite working for me. Sorry, it may have been tacked on because of Dracula, because the audience loved it. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it was like the Hollywood grapevine when it was included, or the zeitgeist for some reason. But this love story really breaks the movie for me. I don't know about you. I'd love to hear your comments about it. Yes, that was my review for Candyman, the original Candyman movie. And there will be 2 more videos about the sequels, Farewell to Flesh and Day of the Dead. If and when Candyman 2020 comes out, there'll be a review too. And yep, love to hear your opinions. Press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon with another video. Thank you for watching.